Welcome everyone, and tonight we are doing mind and emotions as our focus, and we're also going to bring in different parts of the body. So some of you have some neck and shoulder things going on, lower back things. I know some of you have some leg things, so we're going to be working with the whole body in some sense. And I'm going to be bringing in some loving kindness meditation, which is important in both Hindu and Buddhist traditions. From the Yoga Sutras themselves, there is a loving kindness meditation that I'm going to bring to you tonight. So just take your spot on your back. I've got my winter yoga mat here. I've got my socks on. You can be lying in your bed. Get comfortable and just find your spot, and feel free to have your legs straight or bent. And I like to put my feet at the wall just to help me ground, but that's up to you. And feel free to make your screen dark if you just want to really go deeply into yourself, especially during this class. Placing your hands on your bellies. You're going to inhale into your hands. Exhale, draw your bellies in and make a ha sound. And just keep this going in your own timing. Legs straight or bent, your choice. You can also put a pillow or a bolster under your thighs to make your lower back comfortable. I'm going to move into humming now. Inhale the belly into the hands. And as you exhale, humming. Notice how you can exhale much longer with sound. Add an om if you like, and if you like, you can place one hand at the heart, the other at the belly as you do this. And rest. If you like, hands to the belly, hands to the heart. The legs can be straight or bent. You can have one hand at the heart, the other at the belly. And just make your intention for tonight. Perhaps something to do with your mind and emotions. So it might be something like, may I feel filled with endless joy, love, peace, happiness, any of those kinds of words. Or may I feel calm, safe, secure. May I feel healthy, happy, and whole. Or may I be filled with loving kindness. Any other phrase that rings true to you. And when you feel ready, starting to move the body in our asanas, our postures, our shapes. Inhale, bringing the arms up, and feel free to just bring the arms to any height that works for you, either in front or to your sides if that feels better for your body. Just moving anything around you that might be in the way. So just finding your space. Exhale, bringing your arms down either in front or by your sides, your choice. Inhale, arms up, and you can play with, for those of you with arthritis in the hands, you can play with spreading the fingers apart as you inhale, and as you exhale, you can make fists if you like. That might feel good. Play with the nodding of the head down at the top of the inhale. Does that feel good in your neck? Would it feel better for you to put a blanket or a pillow under your head because your chin tends to stick up to the sky when you lie down? So just assess that and adjust for yourself. So as you know, when we're in person, I'm running around helping each of you with those things, but when we're online, it's even more important that you're just continuously assessing how to make yourself a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more stable, a little bit more grounded. If you can, inhaling now into the chest, then into the belly, nodding down at the top of the inhale. And exhale, drawing the belly in and letting the chest fall. Again, the arms can be to the sides if you like. Inhale, arms coming up. And exhale, arms coming down. You can bend the elbows as you do that part if you like. So again, just assess which one feels better for your body. So the one with the arms at the sides can be better when you're dealing with upper back issues. And the arms coming to the front probably is going to activate your lower back a little bit more. You can do a mix if both feel good. Play with your hands. As you inhale, spreading your fingers apart. As you exhale, maybe making fists. Or you can do that nyasam work we've been doing with the finger flicking. You can do that in this pose as well. So that looks like this. Inhale, thumb up a finger, and exhale, finger down a thumb. So you can play with any of those variations, arms in front or sides. Nodding the chin down on the inhale. If that's comfortable, exhale, release it slightly, that Jalandhara Bandha. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button, and engaging the lower bandha's locks. Pausing between inhale and exhale. And just resting. And noticing how you feel. Inhale, M. Exhale, love. Or you can say joy, peace, or another one-syllable word that is meaningful for you. Pointing towards that part of yourself that is changeless, ever present, ever radiant. When the clouds of the mind clear. And when you're ready, bending the knees. And if you like, you can take your bolster or your pillow. If you've got a big bed pillow, that also works. Or if you have a yoga bolster, you can use that. And you're just going to play with, and you can use a block as well or a smaller pillow. As you exhale, you're going to squeeze that bolster. And inhale, release. And this is for grounding and safety. This is part of the loving kindness meditation that we're going to do tonight. It's about feeling safe and grounded. You can work on this somatically by hugging into the center line, the mula line, the grounding line that goes from just below the belly down to the pelvic floor, down the legs and into the feet. If you like, you place your hands at the belly as you do this. Exhale, belly button in, lower belly, pelvic floor, squeeze the bolster, feel the feet. Inhale, release. This also can be helpful for incontinence, for strengthening the inner thighs, for grounding the mind and emotions. Adding a hold after exhale if that's comfortable. Breathing from the belly button down to the feet and holding after exhale. If it's comfortable, squeezing the pelvic floor and the belly in. If that's not comfortable, release any of those parts. You know you already have tension in those parts, it's better for you to release them. Feel free not to squeeze any of those parts that are already tense for you. You can hold after exhale about a half the length of your exhale or the same length. It's making the breath a triangle. Inhale, exhale, and hold after exhale. The other hold we do in yoga is hold after inhale. That makes the breath a square. But this breath is a triangular breath. Now, if you'd like, you're going to remove that bolster. And you're going to take your belt now, or scarf, if you've got something to put on your thighs. And if you don't, you can just skip this part. You could use one of those exercise bands as well for this. All right, so this one we're going to work more with pressing out and create some space in the hips. So it's just nice to work in those two directions. Some of you have different things going on in your hips, so I'm trying to get my ankles, knees aligned as I inhale. I'm coming up and I'm pressing out, and I'm able to lift a little bit higher now and get a stretch in my quads. And strengthen my lower back. And then exhale, rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, coming up. Try to press into both feet evenly and press out into the belt with the legs. And you should feel a little bit more stretch in the hips, hip flexors, psoas, by doing that. Exhale, release. Let's keep this going your own time. This is a semi-inversion, so I hope you didn't eat very much for dinner. I always try to have a really light dinner on Thursday nights. Usually 2 hours ahead if I can. If not, I eat extremely lightly. And if you did eat a bit more, this might be uncomfortable because it's a semi-inversion. So the stomach is higher than the heart. It's comfortable now staying in this semi-inversion with your hips up. And exhale, stay. Release a little bit. Inhale, try to lift a little higher. Press into the belt. And exhale, release a little bit. Inhale into the belt. If you want to take this more into the upper body, maybe making some cactus arms if that's comfortable. Tucking the shoulders underneath. The hands can be coming right out of the elbows or down by your legs or up towards your shoulders. So just see what feels comfortable for your neck and shoulders. And see if you can open the chest a little bit more. And when you're ready, rolling down, release the hands, arms. Bridge pose is kind of like, for me, warrior pose and standing. It's a rare class I don't do. In a standing class, a warrior, and in a supine class, a bridge pose. It's just kind of an essential pose for strengthening the lower back, for opening the front body, the hips and the chest. We're going to stretch the legs out. Urdhva Prasaritadasana. We're going to use a belt for this. And just stretching the legs out after all that bent work. Inhale, pointing the toes away. You can do this with your legs at a wall if it doesn't feel comfortable for you being in space without support. Exhale, bringing the toes towards the nose and stretching the lower back and the legs to your ability. Don't overstretch. Keep that going. Nice swing back and forth. Pause between inhale and exhale. And this one can be very soothing on the lower back, decompressing the lower back, stretching the hamstrings. We're just going to move into stretching one leg at a time. So this pose works with the lower back, the legs, the feet, the knees. So we've got a lot of leg and knee stuff in the room, some lower back stuff in the room. So we're going to address all that right now. You're going to exhale, bend the knee towards the chest. And this is like a runner's lunge. And then inhale, straighten. And as you straighten, you could point the toes to get a bit more nerve flossing in there, especially if you have any nerve damage in the legs. Exhale, bend. And inhale, straighten. I hope you're all at minimum able to get some walking in during these lockdown days. I'm myself, with the change of the light, it's like dark at 4:30 here, and living in the forest, it's really dark at 4:30. So I'm just trying to take an hour off during my workday and just go for a walk and then just work a little later at the end of the day to make up for that, to ensure I get out. So I'm just going to encourage each of you to think about possibly making a commitment to yourself to get out once a day for a walk. And this pose will help you do it. All right, other side. So where I'm living, there's a lot of hills, so I have to do more of this kind of stretching. Keep my legs limber. Exhale, bend. And inhale, straighten. I didn't mention it, but I think all of you know that lower leg can be bent if you prefer. It can be on a chair. It can be on the wall. Okay, so those are a lot of options. You could have a pillow or block bolster under that lower leg to make it more comfortable for the lower back. So please do adjust that according to your back. So fortunately, I've taught almost all of you in person before, but still, I can't see you right now. So please do take care of those things yourselves. You have to be a little bit more of the inner teacher during COVID than when we're all together in person. Which is not such a bad thing. It's good to work on having that awareness of your own practice. All right, when you feel complete on that side, could go on and on for quite a while. You're going to release. And we're going to take a smaller pillow, or I'm using my soft block. If you don't have a fancy yoga block, you can just use a small pillow and put it on the outside of the leg that you're going to move. So I'm using my right leg to start, in part just to make it easy to show you guys. And I'm wrapping my belt around my right hand, and my left hand is to the side. And as I inhale, I'm going to open that leg to the side. So I'm getting into the inner thigh here. So I'm doing this for working with hips and lower back and leg. So working with all those things in the room. And as I exhale, I'm going to go to the other side. You might feel a stretch in that IT band area on the outside of the leg. And often these leg stretches I'm doing right now can be very helpful for the lower back. But also if you're healing from a leg injury like a break, knee surgery, those types of things that are in the room today. And I always, whenever I can, I add the point and flex of the foot because our feet are terribly neglected and so important. I highly recommend during these days, take saltwater baths, give yourself your own pedicure. If you have a partner, give them a foot massage. Massage your own feet. They do so much for us, and they're so important for the health of our backs and even our neck and shoulders. So the whole chain is affected by the feet. Then if you like, you can stay in the open position or just keep that going back and forth, your choice. If you want to add on, for those of you who are a little bit more flexible, you can hold the belt with the opposite hand and bring that elbow overhead and walk the left foot also to the right and get a big side stretch. So be careful, this is intense. If it doesn't feel comfortable, just do one of the two previous poses, just moving back and forth, or just staying with that leg open without this side stretch. And when you're ready, release back to the center. And you're going to switch legs. Bring that block or pillow to the other side. The lower leg, my right leg can be bent or it can be straight. Again, I like to use the wall for support, grounding, your choice. So inhale here, exhale, bend. So actually we did that on this side, sorry, and we're gonna open to the side. So we're just working on this side part. Inhale, opening. And exhale, you're gonna go across. And inhale, open. And exhale, going across. When I go across, I'm trying to keep that left hip, both hips down, believe it or not. It took me a long time to understand that. I was like, why can't I do this? And you can. It's just different. We're going to do that move soon. This is just a little bit different. It's a little bit more like standing rotated triangle. Now, we're going to stay in that open position. So you can stay there or you can keep it moving back and forth. You've got a wall and to put that foot on, it is really nice. It's a nice variation. And if you like, you can add on by walking that right foot more to the side, holding the belt in your right hand, stretching the whole right side of the body. The right foot coming more to the left. Hopefully you can see me quite well. I try to angle the camera a bit more down tonight. See some of these poses a little better. When you do a side stretch, you'll notice that you'll feel it in the area that you're tight. So it might be the upper back, middle back, or lower back and hip, and it might be different on each side. So especially with scoliosis, you might feel it in the upper back on one side and the lower back on the other side. So just notice that. You feel it in a different part of your body. So for lower back pain, I do often use a lot of side bending work like this. And when you're ready, release. Carefully walking that foot back to the center, leg back to the center. Bring both feet to the belt, and we'll end as we started. Inhale, pointing the feet, legs away. Exhale, feet towards your face. Keeping your buttocks down, your lower back on the floor as you do this. If it pops out off, it's not going to hurt you likely, but it's not stretching the hamstrings as much. So you want to get into the hamstrings. Try to keep that lower back down as you bring the feet towards you. And pointing and flexing my feet as I move. So we've worked quite a bit with the lower body so far from the waist down. And now we're going to start working a bit more on the upper body again. Release that. So we're going to grab our bolster, and we're just going to start still with a little bit of the lower body. This will be more of the theme tonight. I keep trying to go to the upper body, and I'm still in the lower body. So putting that bolster or bed pillow underneath your buttocks and bringing your legs to the sky and just finding your comfortable place, Viparita Karani. Could just have your legs up on a wall or a chair. And you can play with moving your legs. Inhale to the sky and exhale, bringing your toes a little bit more towards your nose. It's really decompressing for the lower back. And then, would it be comfortable to bring one leg down? As you exhale, bring that leg up and your feet back. And as you inhale, can you bring the other leg down? Just do it carefully. You can have the leg bent, or if you can, straight. And exhale, bringing it up. So the leg can be straight or bent. I'm now showing straight. Feel free to bend it. And as you exhale, can you use the core, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in to move that leg. Pointing the toes as we inhale, exhale, flex. Try to move that leg from the core rather than through the hips. So feel like the leg is nice and heavy and the pelvic floor is moving it. If you can access that, try. Now exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend, and you can keep the knees quite close to the shoulders if you like. Inhale, straighten. Akunchanasana, exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. If you prefer, you can bring the feet towards the nose in a kind of halasana on that exhale. So working with variations of Viparita Karani. These are great for the body, physical body, but very calming for the nervous system. This is contraindicated for heart disease. If you have high or low blood pressure, just be careful of these inversions. Make sure you're cleared for them with your doctor. And when you're ready, just stay with your legs up. So usually with heart disease, it's okay to just do legs up the wall or have just a smaller cushion underneath the buttocks. So just keep that in mind. And as you lie here, can you say to yourself, inhale, am, exhale, love, or that word you chose, maybe it was joy, peace, etc. And release. It's comfortable holding one knee into the chest and the other leg down, stretching that hip. That leg that's in the chest you can hold under the knee, especially if there's any problem with your knee, that could be a bit safer. Those of you who've had knee surgery might want to choose that. You want to make it harder, you extend that top leg, hold it with a belt or with your hands. And then switching sides. So just knee to the chest. This is for the lower back and the hips. And also just countering a lot of the sitting that a lot of us are doing in COVID, not moving as much. These hip flexors can get quite tight. Also with stress and fear of these times, feeling a little less secure and safe, this psoas area can start to grip to try to make us feel safer, but can cause pain as well. So just finding which one feels better. You can extend that leg up, holding under the thigh, the calf, the foot. You can use a belt, holding that foot as well. And the knees into the chest. And release. Bolster. Just lying flat for a moment. Legs bent or straight. Just taking a rest. Inhale M. Exhale love, joy, peace. Whatever words you want to use to affirm that part of yourself that is nameless, formless, immeasurable, eternal, ever present. And unlimited, free, free from suffering, change. When you're ready, I'm going to move into a meditation as well as a restorative pose. So I invite you to take either a big pillow, a bolster if you have one. You could use a rolled mat. You could use a rolled mat with a blanket on top of it. You could also add some height at the end of your bolster or pillow. So using a smaller pillow or a small block, soft block as I call these, Canadian style blocks. You might have these in other parts of the world. They look like a book, which I always find amusing because in India I was trained with using books as props. So there you go. And lying down on whatever prop you want to use. So just trying to get a bit of a chest over. You could use a rolled blanket down the spine so that it looks like a yoga mat, but it's a blanket. You can use a rolled mat with a blanket on top. I tested all my home props for months, as you saw in earlier videos now and classes. And now I'm back to using my yoga props, but they all work as well. When you're lying on this, if your lower back hurts because of rounding and spine, we worked with the lower back a lot tonight, but if it is still bothering you, you could put, to reduce that curve in the back, put a little cushion soft block underneath the buttocks. So just make sure you're comfortable. Putting your arms at any height that feels comfortable for you, and you might start lower and then work your way higher and adjust that. So if you have tightness in these pecs, these chest muscles, do be aware. Now, I want you to think also about your head, your neck. You know, in class I walk around and I look for chins sticking up for the sky. So if you think that you're sticking your chin up to the sky, could you take a little blanket or pillow and put it under your head, especially the top of the head, and try to keep your chin even with your chest. After you've found your comfort, you might cover yourself with a blanket. You can be here for about 10 minutes. In the last 2 weeks' classes, we do more restorative poses. And I'm going to add a loving kindness meditation. I'm going to start with the Buddhist tradition, Jack Kornfield's loving kindness meditation. I've adapted. Jack Kornfield has done some work with the Vinyasa Yoga tradition, Krishnacharya's yoga. And this loving kindness meditation very much links to the Yoga Sutras, which I'll move into next. First, may I be filled with loving kindness. So you can say this to yourself as you inhale and as you exhale. May I be filled with loving kindness. And if there's an image that comes to mind, you can bring that to mind. May I be filled with loving kindness. Timing your breath with that phrase, may I be filled with loving kindness as you inhale and as you exhale as a mantra. Mantra means mind tool. May I be filled with loving kindness. Say it to yourself. Moving on. May I feel safe and free from harm. This one is really important during these times. May I feel safe and free from harm. May I feel safe and free from harm. As you inhale and exhale, saying this to yourself. If there's an image that comes to mind, you could bring that into your felt sense, your body, through your senses. And feel free to change the position of your arms or your back at any time. You can just do this in Shavasana, lying on your back or even on your front. May I feel safe and free from harm. May I be healthy, happy, and whole. May I be healthy, happy, and whole. Say this to yourself as you inhale and exhale. May I be healthy, happy, and whole. May I be healthy, happy, and whole. And finally, may I be filled with endless joy. May I be filled with endless joy. As you inhale and exhale, may I be filled with endless joy. May I be filled with endless joy. May I be filled with endless joy. When you're ready, just going to transition into our counter pose for this restorative pose, legs up the wall. So these are probably my two favorite restorative poses, get a lot from me. And you can do legs up the wall with the bolster under the buttocks, block under the buttocks, or just, I'm going to do mine flat, just more as a counter pose to the back arch, because that's quite an arch on the back. And I'll just do like that. Okay, so if you don't have a wall, you can put your legs up on a chair or on a sofa. And if you do have a belt, tying that belt on your thighs, your ankles. I actually usually do it on my ankles, so I think I'm going to do that. If you have two belts, you can do one on your ankles and the other on your thighs. That can feel really nice. And just loosen it until, tighten it until it feels like it's the right, just right for you. And this is, you do this so that you can relax your legs. Now, I'm quite close to the wall. I've worked your hamstrings a lot, so this is, I would say, our main pose tonight. It wasn't my intention, but it seems to be our main pose tonight, Viparita Karani. So I'm guessing you guys somehow needed that. And because I tried to do something else, but the class led me to this. If your hamstrings are tighter, although we did work them quite a bit tonight, just move away from the wall so that you're nice and comfortable. So I'm going to come closer again. Just getting your legs up the wall, just put your buttocks to the wall and legs up. And you can put something underneath your buttocks if you like. Okay, so I hope you're comfortable. And in this position, I'm going to move into the Sanskrit chant related, very much related to this loving kindness meditation. And these 4 words are sacred to the Hindus and the Buddhists of India as a meditation. This is from chapter 1, verse 33 of the Yoga Sutras. First word is Maitri, which means loving kindness. Second word is Karuna, which means compassion. Third word is Mudita, which means appreciation or gratitude. And the last word, Upeksha, means equanimity, having detached from a negative situation
And having found equanimity or groundedness, having found your center, Maitri, loving kindness towards your friends, Karuna, compassion towards those in need, Mudita, appreciation, gratitude for those doing amazing things in the world. Upeksha, equanimity, finding equanimity in the face of adversity, in the face of dealing with a person or situation that is very challenging, very triggering, very unsettling, and finding your balance point, your ground. So I'm going to chant these words in Sanskrit and English. And first, we're going to do them for ourselves, each of these words. Second, we're going to do them for a friend. Third, we're going to do them for an enemy or someone we don't like very much, someone who triggers us. And finally, we're going to do them for the world. And I'm just going to say, because we've been here now for about 5 minutes, if your legs are tingling, feel free to change your position at any time. Just move into Shavasana rather than this position. Or just bend your legs and give your legs a break from being up there. This is quite a change in circulation. All right, here we go, towards ourselves first. Maitri, loving kindness. Karuna, compassion. Mudita, gratitude. Upeksha, equanimity, groundedness. Loving, compassionate, grateful, grounded, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, loving, compassionate, grateful, grounded, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. May I be loving towards myself, compassionate towards myself. May I appreciate myself, and may I find equanimity within myself. May I be loving and kind towards myself. May I be compassionate towards myself. May I appreciate and have gratitude for myself. And may I find equanimity and groundedness within myself. Now thinking about your friend, someone you love, someone who's easy to love. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, loving, compassionate, grateful, grounded, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, loving, compassionate, grateful, grounded. May I find love and kindness towards my friend. May I find compassion for my friend. May I appreciate and be grateful for my friend. And may I find equanimity and groundedness in the presence of my friend. I invite you for this last one, if you want to move into Shavasana out of legs up the wall, feel free for our last 2 rounds, loving kindness meditation, or stay with your legs up the wall. So now thinking about someone who it triggers you, someone you don't like, or maybe someone you do love, but at the moment they are presenting themselves as the opposite of a friend. That also happens in friendship. Our friend becomes our enemy or someone who triggers us. So bring that person to mind. You can visualize them. And we're going to end with this meditation tonight. And the Buddhists say this is the hardest one. Maitri Karuna Mudita Upeksha Loving Compassionate Grateful Grounded Maitri Karuna Mudita Upeksha Loving Compassionate Grateful Grounded Maitri Karuna Mudita Upeksha. May I find loving kindness for my enemy, for that person who triggers me, upsets me, frustrates me. May I find compassion for this person. May I find appreciation for this person. Even thinking of one thing I can appreciate about this person that I've created a narrative in my mind around that is negative and painful and filled with suffering. And may I find some spaciousness around my reactions to this person. May I find some spaciousness and in that spaciousness, can I find my ground, my equanimity, so that I can respond to their negative behavior in a skillful way. When you're ready, you can start to come back into the room, or you can just stay there and end the class in your own way, your own time. If you want to stay with this meditation a little longer, just rolling to one side when you're ready. Coming up to any seated position that's comfortable for you, or just you can just stay there a little longer if you prefer. And one day I'd like to do a whole retreat weekend on that chant. So there's lots more there to go into. And just as an antidote to all of that, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, may everyone everywhere be happy, experience joy, peace, and love. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful December holiday season, whatever that is for you during these unusual times of retreating, keeping safe, and connecting with our endless joy, always there, no matter what's going on around us.